Hey, what's up, Ron G? Ron Jizzle. What up, y'all? Hey, we're going in, y'all. What's up, everybody? God bless y'all. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. What up, what up, what up? All my people jumping on. God bless y'all. Let's go. Let's get into it, y'all. It's that time. It's that time. All right, y'all. Without further ado, y'all, we got a great show to cover, everybody. We got to do this quickly, right? So I'm going to skip the intro. Shout out to all my people watching right now. God bless y'all in the name of Jesus. Welcome to Twilight Tuesday, y'all. If you do not know, right, Twilight Tuesday is a show we do every Tuesday, right, that deals with the supernatural, paranormal, you know, oddities, strange things, you know, like I would say coast to coast, Twilight Zone, Black Mirror-esque kind of a situation here, y'all. Hey, I even got the floating microphone, y'all. Look at the floating microphone. Woo. Anyways, so without further ado, I'm gonna get into it because we got a lot to cover real quick, y'all. Don Q's fixing to join us. Don Kizzle, make the Kizzle. Don Kizzle. We're doing this, y'all, just take a break from everything going on in the world, just trying to give you some good fire content and entertainment. Again, God bless everybody jumping on tonight, y'all. Thank y'all for being on here, and we're gonna get into it right here. And like I said, y'all, it's Twilight Tuesday. I know today's Wednesday. We had issues yesterday with the stream. My whole internet went down on the whole block, so it was an issue. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm gonna get Don Q on the phone, ladies and gentlemen. So again, like I said, we were supposed to do this yesterday, y'all, but again, like I said, we had issues with the internet. Let me get Don Kizzle on the phone over here, y'all, and we'll get to it. Thank you for joining us, y'all, and hopefully y'all enjoy this this live we're fixing to have right now. I'm trying to get Don Q on the phone, y'all. Forgive me, I should have had this lined up already, but having a little bit of difficulties. Thank y'all for joining us, y'all, on this Wednesday, and we're gonna get right into it. It's the Roswell Truth Part 2, and here we go. Yeah, get that Raymond ready, Christopher. Hello?
Can you hear me? Nino, can you hear me?
Don Kizzle. My bad, brother. My other line, my other phone had a quarter charge, so that's why I didn't answer it, bro. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on this on my main phone that has a full charge. What's up, Don Q?
Not much. We're live. We're in the house. I want to apologize to everybody that showed up yesterday expecting an awesome live and a conclusion to this story, but we had some patriotic duties to take care of in the community, so I appreciate everyone being here today. And, you know, like I said, I apologize for not making it yesterday. We had some important issues.
Yeah, it's all good, brother. Real quick, Don Kizzle. So let's go and get right into it, bro. People were very interested in this show last time. Hey, God bless everybody jumping on, y'all. I wish I could shout everybody out, but we're going to get right to the show. Don Q, it was a pretty eye-opening show. I kid you not, bro. When I rewatched it in the morning, right? Because I can't really, to be honest, everybody listening right now, y'all, I cannot fully, you know, appreciate the show right now as I'm filming because I got to run the whole setup over here. And to be honest, I might even shut my camera down and just let the Don Q talk in the background just to have more focus on the story. But Don Q, the next day when I heard this story, bro, a couple things that stuck out to me were, man, you were on the money, bro. You answered my questions. You knew this like the back of your hand. You're very informative. And Don Q, you tell a great tale, bro. You could spin the tale, Don Q. And the next day I listened to this in the morning going to work, and I said, man, this is an awesome, one of my best lives, I think, y'all. Everybody watching, and Don Q, I think it was one of the best ones I've done. And I thank you for bringing your your storytelling abilities and the truth that you bring here. Next week we got an awesome show. We'll talk about that at the end of this one. So without further ado, Don Q, real quick, why do you think people really like this tale? They were like waiting for part 2. Why do you think people are gravitating towards something like this instead of the regular everyday politics that we do? Go ahead.
Well, Nino, I think it's just the need to at the end of the day, it's just a need to break away from the heavy weight of the world around us. We all feel it. We all feel the pressure. So this chance to kind of, sit back and let your imagination run and maybe hear a different perspective you hadn't heard, or maybe that you have heard, and it kind of refires thoughts and imagination. It's all healthy and good. And that's kind of what we're doing. It's just bringing a new, exciting perspective for people to kind of enjoy. And, it could lead to rabbit holes that you do go investigate. And, they can lead to really fun and really inquisitive and really powerful stuff. So it's all good. It's all in the realm of staying fresh and keeping our minds sharp.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Okay, yeah. God bless everybody jumping on here. Y'all have a lot of people on here checking this out. Looking good. Again, y'all, and real quick, y'all, we're not doing nothing political today, y'all. This is Twilight Tuesday on a Wednesday, and we're gonna be dealing with the paranormal, supernatural, whatever, and we're gonna finish the story. Don Q, are you ready to give basically the rundown of last week and then delve into this week? Are you ready?
I am ready. One thing I want to throw out, is, I got a lot of messages from people the last time, just different stuff. I just want to kind of throw a disclaimer out there. The way that I tell a story, I will become the characters. I will become invested in the story. I will physically be there, mentally, everything. So as this journey goes along, if you hear the passion, if you hear the conviction in my voice, just know that that's part of the genuine storytelling for me to convey, imagery to your own mind so you can come along this journey with me. So, because I got a lot of people asking, do I really believe all this stuff? All of that is secondary to this journey that we're going to take together. So, go ahead and suspend any thought, anything that kind of holds you down. Let those chains go and let's take a ride. Let's jump on Don Q's spaceship and hit the sky.
Totally agree. And real quick, brother, there's a reason why Don Q's not here or on the screen, y'all, because we chose to have him call in for we could focus on the story at hand. I might even turn my camera off, y'all, and just give a good little let Don Q shine here with the audio. So if y'all see me disappear, y'all, don't be alarmed. And here we go, y'all. So go ahead and give the someone said first person perspective real quick. Last week we did part 1, y'all. If y'all can watch it, it's amazing. It's a good podcast just to listen to. Don Q, go ahead and give a summary of last week and what you want to do, and then delve into the part 2 of this conclusion of the Roswell Truth. Go ahead, Don Kizzle.
Perfect. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and let's begin today's story. So, as we talked about last week, if you get a chance to go back and look, great. But one thing I want to say is we did kind of rush and put all that together as quick as we can, kind of jumped over a lot of stuff just to kind of...
Don.
Can you hear me?
All right, cut out. Go ahead. Finish. It cut out when you start talking. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know if it cuts out or anything.
Okay.
I should be okay over here. Okay. So we're gonna rewind to next week. We kind of compartmentalized everything really quick just to kind of get that part of the story locked in. So now we're gonna kind of fast forward to. So right now, or rather to recap last week, it was July 8th, Roswell, New Mexico, about 7 p.m. There was a UFO crash. The only nurse that was on the base at that time was Matilda McElroy. Her and a Lieutenant Colonel Corso drove to the crash site together, in which time there was 3 beings there. Two were dead. One was still alive. And telepathic imagery started coming to her mind. And from there, she was kind of used as an interpreter to interact with the being because, in the first week, obviously you can understand the chaos, the generals, the military men, the powerful men of the world, everyone's just going frantic, trying to figure out what they have and what kind of threat is on their hand. So that's kind of a quick little recap of last week. And if everyone's ready, we're going to dive into the second half of the story.
Awesome. And real quick, I'm going to go ahead and turn my screen off here in a minute. Y'all just listen. I want to pay attention to what Don Q's saying. I'm going to still be running the system. And someone talked about giants here. This in a certain area. We're going to touch on giants when we get the chance. Next week, we've got a special show that we're going to touch on. But I digress. Don Q, go ahead and continue with the story.
Okay. So we're going to take place at day 4, where we left off. Day 4, the being is inside the interrogation room, reading books. And at this time, if we can remember from last week, Matilda is just kind of in the room, right? They're sitting in the room. There's a simple desk, a chair. And if we can all recall, the alien's being, it's about 40 inches tall, about the size of a 5-year-old child. So sitting in the chair, the table, everything is oversized for the being. So just picture don't picture a human size or something large. This was a very small being. To the left is a kind of double-sided mirror. That's where the gallery is. That's the generals, the powerful people, of our alliance, our NATO forces, everybody like that has gathered to kind of figure out what they have on hand. So Matilda's sitting in the room with the being, and this is day 1 of the being getting books, kind of combing through different subjects. And as the being does this, it starts to realize that it can communicate a lot better with Matilda, because that's one thing from the weeks prior why the story kind of jumped around all over the place was the imagery that Matilda was getting, the being did not know how to communicate. It does not know our English language. It's able to use imagery, and Matilda had to take that imagery and put it into the English language as best she could. And
Okay.
you know, that's why it was all over the place. So here we are, day 4, and the being, after reading a few books, and you know, they covered all types of different subjects, history of the United States, history of the world, biology, everything you can imagine. Well, the being, you know, kind of understands a little bit more as it's growing in our knowledge, and it talks to Matilda, starts sending imagery to Matilda, and lets her know that the being is of female origin. From what she can read in the documents and everything, she's of female origin. And again, the
alien is a
yes.
female.
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, Matilda's a bit, you know, a little taken back by this. So she begins to question, kind of, well, I'm a female. Why didn't you recognize and say, you know, send me something to let me know you were like me? And the being, you know, basically explains to her, I didn't understand how to convey that to you, but in our, you know, in my existence, you know, females are creators. We have a different role in the universe. We're a male dominant soul, a being. They're more explorers. They're conquering uncharted territories of the universe. They play a different role in the whole function of the universe. So my simple understanding of females now, especially for you humans, I wouldn't have been able to convey that correctly to you, because we don't operate the same as you as physical form here on this earth. It's different. But if I have to give you something, I am of female origin. And then the being kind of puts together an imagery to kind of, you know, because at this time, the being is understanding that her relationship and communication with Matilda it is important. And Matilda kind of gets the feeling that the being is really trying to make an effort, really trying to communicate with her a little bit stronger. She's starting to understand, okay, she's not just reading these books and inputting them. She's doing it for a purpose, because it's helping her communicate, and whatever she would like to say to us, this matters. So Matilda, you know, the being sends some imagery to Matilda and basically lets her know her name. So Matilda's able to articulate it into English language. The being's name was Errol, Airl, Errol, and Errol is of female origin. And Errol was also able to explain to Matilda, and again, this is a far superior being. So I know for a lot of people, you know, just one day of reading books, how did this happen? But you have to suspend your thought and your limitations of humankind. So the being kind of relates to her that she is part of what is called the Dominion. The Dominion is a star galactic force that has now moved into this sector of the universe. And to help you understand where that's coming from, the universe is infinite. The universe is ever expanding. It has no walls. It has no, you know, drop off. It has no oceans that keep it centered. The universe is infinite, and beings out in the universe are able to create and expand at will. So the universe being infinite, there's places, I mean, just pockets that even beings that have lived millions of years in the stars have never been to. That's how the universe is. It's just ever expanding. But at the same time, the Dominion, who Errol is a part of, is conquering and moving into different territories, trying to create a collective between these beings in the universe, kind of just the same as you know, the Spanish coming to the New World to conquer new land, just in that same simple mindset. Think of it like that. But one thing you have to understand about these beings is there is no demands. You are voluntary. You are voluntary when you are with the group, when you go and be part of a collective like this, like the domain. It is all voluntary. You are not forced. You do not have to stay, and you can leave at will, because you are a spiritual being out in the universe. You have no physical form, so nobody can cause any harm to you. Nobody can kill you. Nobody can take from you. So you're free to do as you please. And I know that's hard for us to understand, but as the collectives move through the universe, you know, this is how it goes. But at the same time, you know, and again, I know I'm moving quick. And again, this is the being just conveying to Matilda, because for her, this is the first time where she's able to kind of communicate, where Matilda can kind of understand some things. But you have to understand that Errol is also very excited. She's excited that she's realizing Matilda's understanding on a different level. So again, let's pause right there. Errol reads some more books. Again, Matilda brings in different subjects. At the end of each day, after Errol is done reading, she gives Matilda a list of subject matters that she would like for the next day. Miss Matilda leaves the interrogation room, goes to the gallery, delivers the list to the gentleman. And the next day, when Miss Matilda comes out of her barracks to the interrogation room, the books that the gallery has selected will be there. So there's a bit of miscommunication as far as, Errol wanting certain subjects. Matilda, even, like she says, she's not savvy to half the things that Errol's asking for. I mean, Errol's asking for every single subject she can, but she also understands the gallery is only going to give her, the surface water as much as they can.
And real quick, the gallery, tell everybody who the gallery is that has been watching.
The gallery is a collection of high-ranking military men. Actually, we come to find out later, there's some very intelligent entrepreneur type inventor, scientist men in there, and other people from around the world that have an interest in what's going on here. Granted, if I could flash back to 1947, these are going to be our allies. There's going to be certain people that are not allowed in the table or don't even know that this happened. So again, are we doing ourselves a disservice as humanity? I'm sure, but this was a military threat. That's how our government took it. So these men behind, that glass, the gallery, that's who they were. They were there to pick apart this threat and figure out exactly what it was. And Matilda reiterates this continuously throughout her footnotes and everything, just always talking about how, the pressure from the gallery, every day she would deliver a list of books, and it was almost kind of like, all right, we don't want to do this. We want answers, but they quickly realized, since the being could not feel any pain, could not be tortured into speaking, that they kind of had to play a little bit of chess with it. They had to kind of give and take to hopefully get to an end that they're hoping for. So between day 4, which we just talked about right now, to day 15, Errol just ingests every subject she can. I mean, she's reading through books, subjects, history. She actually takes a real liking to nonfiction. So 3 of her favorite books that she tells Matilda is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Don Quixote's De la Mancha, and 101 Nights. And what Errol says to Matilda, why she likes these books so much, is the authors are showing human beings that it matters more to have a great imagination than it does power and wealth. And I thought that was really interesting and neat that she conveyed. So here we are in day 14. The day concludes. Errol gives Matilda a very short list. There's only 3 books or 3 subject matters on the list, and then that's it. So hold on a second here. I got the dog barking. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so we move to day 16 now. Matilda comes out of the barracks. She's coming into the interrogation room, and there's only a small stack of books this time, which, Errol had requested. Errol combs through the books really quick. She closes the book, and this is the first time where there was not an awkward silence, but Matilda just talks about it was different. There was kind of like a pause, and there was no imagery. There was just nothing. She hadn't experienced, something just like that, where Errol had made a motion, but then not sent a thought. So Errol closes the book and sends the imagery to Matilda and says, "I'm ready to speak now." So from day 16, after the book's closed, Errol becomes the teacher. She will not take any questions. She will not, take any. She's her filters are up to make sure Matilda's not able to sneak in any gestures, any questions from the gallery. Errol's made it clear that from this point forward, she will give humanity the information that she feels, 1, can benefit us, but 2, does not put her in jeopardy or the Dominion and their operations in this solar system, because that's ultimately what her job is protect her group, the Dominion.
So Don, you would say how many days was it again? 30 days, or how many days was she with this alien?
It was roughly about 25 days.
Okay, so day 16, you would say that the alien, I guess, basically let their guard down, or was comfortable with Matilda to start, I guess, being the teacher, like you said?
Correct. And really kind of what Matilda explains in the footnotes was, it was like the being, and the being will explain to Matilda right now basically what happened. And we can go into that right now. Basically what the being explains to Matilda was, the being wasn't, or Errol, excuse me, it has a name now. So Errol wasn't reading the books in real time. What Errol was doing was combing the pages. What she was combing and reading was being relayed back to a mothership that was sitting on the asteroid belt just outside of Earth, run through their computers, their systems, and then brought back to her in a way that she can think and articulate. That's one thing we need to make clear is the human language, the way we communicate, is so Stone Age. It would be like giving a dog a pencil and a paper, it scribbling on paper, and then you having to make something out of that, right? So that's what we're dealing with. You know, they're far intelligent, but we're so primitive. It's almost, and Errol will explain, you know, where a lot of our history comes and why very few in the universe know the English language or much about our history, which we'll get into later. But like I said, Errol, you know, she had to relay this to the mothership. The mothership had to run it through their system in a thought process that she could articulate and be able to talk to Matilda. So as this is happening, or rather as they come to that conclusion, Matilda knows that Errol, there's a certain sense of optimism with Errol, and she doesn't know what that's about. She doesn't know why. She can almost sense a sense of excitement. Errol will have to explain herself, but Matilda just has this feeling in the room with her. Any other questions or anything, Neil?
Yeah, real quick, I think people are just jumping on and just like, I guess they're figuring out that we're not talking politics. We're doing Twilight Tuesday on a Wednesday. But real quick, Don Q, you're saying a lot what this Matilda is learning so supposedly from this alien. What I want to ask real quick in the middle of this, let's take a quick segue. How reliable is Matilda's testimony here? Is she a reliable figure or her character in this whole situation? Can you please expound upon Matilda's, the validity of her claims in this situation?
It will be explained later in the story. It's an intricate part of the story, but yes, 100% she was vetted as much as you could be at the time of 1947, and she came out aces in the eyes of all the generals, in the eyes of the American government and everything. So just so you know, the validity of this story has been verified through all means in 1947, which we will go through because it is a sad part of the story, but it is the truth of the story, and it gives a little bit more weight to how we have this information now, how we have these footnotes and the actual documents from Matilda's interview. She goes into full detail about that.
Alrighty, continue.
Okay. So now we're on, like I said, we're on day 16 where Errol's going to become the teacher. Now, this is where the rabbit holes and information and subjects can really branch out. This is where the timeline of the story can really get long. So this, I'm going to kind of blow over quick, but at the end of the story, any questions or anything, highlighted points you'd like to dive deeper into, we definitely can, because like I said, this is Errol becoming the teacher to Matilda. Now, and fast forward also, we're inside the interrogation room. Now, where this story is going to go, because for the sake of time, I'm not going to break apart every single day. I'm going to tell the story kind of a full running 6 days of Matilda's education from Errol. Because the little stuff in between, it's just fine detailing, Matilda going to her barracks. One night she did kind of have a nervous breakdown in her room where she cried uncontrollably. You have to understand, this is 1947. Even the range and mental capacity of sci-fi and just everything was very limited. So this is a heavy weight for Miss Matilda. As I said in the first story, this is something she takes with pride. She knows she's helping her country. She knows she's doing her duty, but this is also overwhelming, and life will never be the same for her. And, it has to be a heavy weight. If you ever put yourself in shoes like something like that, I know we could never imagine, but what a weight she carried, and what a tip of a hat to her, because she did an amazing job. So, all right, so here we are on day 16, and like I said, we're going to kind of bulldoze through the 6 days. So Errol likes to break down each subject with Matilda. And, at the end of each session, at the end of each day, Matilda takes, what Errol had told her, what she had given to the sonograph, to the lady basically typing it up, takes it inside the room with the gallery. The gallery reviews it, looks at it. While they're reviewing and talking, Matilda, always goes back to her barrack. If they have any other questions, if they have any other follow-up, individual general lieutenant will come to her barrack. So that's kind of the situation. So here's the 6-day education that Errol gives. I want to start with your history and what I can tell you and what we know from the Dominion. It was over 20,000 years ago that we discovered your galaxy. Your galaxy is on the farthest reaches of the universe. There is no real purpose for it, nor do we have any interest in moving into this sector. A long time ago, and for sake of words that you can't understand, we're just going to call them the Old Empire. There was an old empire in this universe that as the domain started to move into place and started to investigate this realm of the universe, we were under attack. We lost a lot of ships. We lost a lot of good souls. After a couple of years of figuring out if this area had any value, an expeditionary team that was sent to this area discovered the asteroid belt. And the asteroid belt is a planet in your solar system that was destroyed long ago, when a race that was inhabiting these planets was taken over by the Old Empire. They destroyed one of your biggest planets in your solar system that is now the asteroid belt. Now, the only reason the asteroid belt has any value to us is it's a low gravity jump off point to the Milky Way. The Milky Way is another universe 3 times the size of this one. So it has interest to us because we're always seeking new territory, minerals, goods, things that heavy metal planets such as Earth possess. And there are tons of solar systems with a class 7 star, such as your sun, that is a low radiation, low heat outputting star that can and support life on planets. Now, one thing that you need to understand is we have never encountered a planet like Earth, nor do we have any interest to interact with the beings on this Earth. Your history and what has happened to you, you can't put into words, and it is a disgrace and a mark on the universe. And the entire universe knows about every single one of you humans. Your planet is a prison planet. It's the last one in this universe. It's one of the only ones we know of that became basically a dumping ground. After the old Dominion forces were eliminated in this universe, we sent ships, we built bases, but think about it like, again, if your home base is here and the outreaches are 1,000 miles away, what resources, how much would you do that far away from your own base, from your own planet, from your own mothership? Not a lot. And that's where your galaxy lies, on the very far reaches of the universe. So as we moved into this area and as we discovered, we started to realize that other collectives in the universe were using Earth as a dumping ground for their untouchables. Now, when we say the word untouchables, don't think of criminals or something heinous. This can be simply somebody, a free thinker, an artist, somebody that went against the collective's agenda, what they were trying to do to other beings, conquer planets, whatever it may be. You went against the system. Now, they can't kill you. They can't hurt you. What's the one thing that they can do to make sure that you're never a threat and that you can never hurt them again if they could kill you? It's to imprison you into a life that you'll never, ever get out of, you'll constantly be reincarnated into, and you'll never be set free into the stars where you belong. That's what Earth is, human beings. You go ahead, Nino.
I mean, this is pretty heavy stuff. And again, someone's saying here, be careful treading lightly with this situation, because it could be, you know, I mean, demonic, who knows, some kind of entity, you know, deceiving this woman. To be honest, you know, I always think about that, you know, that you got to be careful with situations like this. But go ahead and continue, Don Q. This is crazy. A dumping ground, bro. A dumping ground, they called us. That's wild. I've never heard that.
And Matilda addresses that. Matilda, in a side note, says, you know, this is really conflicting and hard for me because, you know, because of her faith. She's actually a practicing Catholic, but she believes in Jesus Christ, everything like that. So she talks about in the footnotes that it's really conflicting, but she knows it's not her job to be biased. It's not her job to counter Errol, to say, no, that's not true. No, this is the way we know it. She's just there to receive, and she's there to, whatever she receives, make sure that the person's able to get out on paper and get to the people behind the gallery. And that's as simple as it is. She talks about it. She talks about that she has quite a bit of conflicting things. And
also, to be honest, I mean, we don't even know if this alien's telling her this, if he's even lying or telling the truth. I mean, he could be deceiving her and or telling the truth. Who knows at this point? But good, yes. Don, because I just had to interject that for my people that are watching. You know, I'm a Christian. I don't care if an alien came down and told us this and that and the third. My faith is in Christ Jesus, and that's all there is to it. But go ahead, Don Q.
That's right. No, and that's what I mean. This story is going to take some twists and turns, but this is the journey. So,
all right, let's go.
Okay. So obviously Matilda has some questions as she's getting hit with this heavy stuff, and Errol knows, and there is some dialogue back and forth, and Errol makes sure to kind of answer it and you know, make sure, again, Errol understands that this story is heavy and it's a lot to take in at once. So Errol basically explains that as they start to discover Earth, they start to kind of realize what it is. And just so you know, Errol explains to Matilda that everywhere else in the universe, on every other planet, there is rarely more than one race of Homo sapiens. Rarely more than one race. And it's because they are simply serving a purpose. And what Errol explains to Matilda is, you cannot think of human beings as entities themselves. They are bodies. They're doll bodies. They're literally manufactured. We make them however we see fit. We design them for a purpose on a particular planet, whether it's mining heavy minerals, whether it's, you know, moving resources, whatever it may be. It's just a vehicle. It's like a tractor. It's like a backhoe. The person operating it is the real person, is the spirit, is the soul. So again, that's one thing that the being does tell Matilda, that nowhere else in the universe have they ever come across anything like Earth. And that's why, you know, imagine, she even says it, you know, as they first start to explore and come into this universe, they actually uncovered quite a bit of hidden bases. So they were attacked quite a few times. There was a large hidden base on Mars that they had to destroy. It was actually the last one destroyed from the old world and from the old empire. So she explains to her that, you know, the universe doesn't operate the way you think it does, the way Earth is simulated. So when we talk about other Earths, when we talk about other inhabitants, it's never, ever like Earth. And she goes into really, really deep detail about how everything on Earth has come into existence, how other things are used on other planets. So, you know, if any questions at the end about that, please don't be afraid to ask, because like I said, we're going to keep moving along. So,
Don Q, real quick, and this guys, this is all detailed in the book. How big is that book that I guess Matilda penned it, correct?
Gosh,
I need this book, Don Q. I need this book.
Yeah, no, it's so I'm a big audiobook. I think it's 6 hours audiobook.
Wow.
And it's over 500 pages.
Is it on YouTube? Can we listen to it on YouTube?
It's not on YouTube. It's a bit scrubbed.
Wow.
I think, yeah, if I can dig again, I know I had it on BitChute. And then I don't know about Rumble. I haven't checked Rumble
because
actually.
Don, people are saying why. What's the name of the book? We'll get the questions in a minute, everybody. I'm starring everybody's questions for the end of it. But Don Q, that's why somebody asked why. I think KB or somebody asked why there hasn't more people heard about this. But like you said, bro, they scrubbed it. Just like think about it, the way they're doing it now, y'all. With the with the anything that goes against their narrative. They're going to scrub it. They're scrubbing our accounts on Instagram currently. They're taking away certain, you can't share certain pages now. Y'all on the 25th. They're doing it now, and you don't think they've done it before in the past. The thing is, now we got an eye on them because of certain political reasons, what other religious reasons. We're awake now, and we see what they're doing. But think about it. Back in the 40s and 50s, the regular average everyday American is trying to make a livelihood, and the people, the powers that be, can easily scrub something like this. But I don't want to get too far off. Don Q, finish this story, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. So, and I want to touch on all that. I think as we go along the story, it should touch some of this stuff for people. So, so as they're, as the Dominion forces are moving in this area, they're having little conflicts with the old empire, still trying to understand Earth and exactly what's going on here. Again, a little intrigued with Earth, like I said, because of the beings, because they know it's a heavy mineral planet, so life can exist on it. They're trying to understand it. Well, the biggest part of the story that people need to understand, and why it was a dumping ground, and why Earth is called a prison planet to every other being in the entire universe, and why they avoid this place like a truck stop in the middle of Death Valley. When the evil empire came into power in this universe. And, again, it's not like they came into power and took over human beings on Earth. We were not here yet. We were part of a collective. We might have been part of the old empire, whatever it may be. They set Earth up as a prison planet. And what their idea was, or rather what they did so well. And again, think about it like this, a giant force, an unstoppable force like the Dominion organization in the universe. The universe is not broken down in between good and evil. All beings in the universe are good, or rather they have a principle that what is done unto you, or what you do unto others will be done to you. So there's a certain operating principle, and Errol explains that to her, that our simple understanding on Earth of good and evil and bad, that's not the way the universe works. The universe works in a sense of free will, and the way she explains it is how organizations like the Dominion, the old empire, come into existence. Let me pause right there real quick, because one thing I'm skipping over that Errol explains to Matilda is we are all immortal spiritual beings. That's what we're called since the beginning of time. That's what you've always been. And to simplify that, Errol calls them is-bees. Is-bees, immortal spiritual beings. That's what we are. That's what everyone in the universe, every alien being, everyone is an is-bee. We are immortal spiritual beings. So Earth and their designing, being that we're immortal spiritual beings that occupy a body, I'm trying to figure out how to tell this part of the story, because I got to jump around, but I want to get to another part. But Earth was designed as a prison planet for physical bodies, but physical bodies had to be inhabited by the prisoner you were trying to imprison here. And why Earth is a prison planet is, once an is-bee is put into a human body on Earth, it will never, ever be able to escape. That was something that the old empire did. And again, I want to go back to what I was talking about before with the old empire. I know I'm jumping around, but the old empire wasn't bad at its orientation. We are all immortal spiritual beings, and we had free will. And when you have a universe as a playground and anything and everything at your will to create and come into fruition, things begin to get boring. They begin to get very, very, mundane, very gray. And that's what happened, Errol says, happened to a lot of spiritual beings in the universe. Was when they got bored, what do humans do when they get bored? They play games. And that's what immortal spiritual beings out in the universe did. They began to play games. And Errol to Matilda basically breaks it down, so we can understand it in a human sense. She said, think about it like this. You built a box, you put yourself inside the box, you locked the box, you threw away the key, and then you gave yourself amnesia so you never remember there ever was a key, that you are even in a box, or that the outside even exists. That's what's happened to the immortal spiritual beings here on Earth. The old empire. That's what happened. That's how it kind of created, was we started to play games. So as we started to play games to make ourselves forget, to live a lifetime and then die and then come back, and almost like a game, other Isbis started to realize they could take advantage of that system. They could trap humans into a slave system. And again, this is all free will. This is all, and these Isbis out in the universe, they, like I said, collectively being part of the Dominion is always expanding, always moving forward in knowledge and growth and prosperity. But you have other collectives, other groups of Isbis that for them, it's just a game. For them, it's all just a game. It's all just a joke, because nowhere in the universe does anywhere like Earth exist. And what I'm trying to say about Earth is, everywhere else you can play the game, right? If you want to create a physical body on a planet and inhabit it and run around and have fun, you can do that. And you can exit the body. If the body dies, if something happens, you're back to being an immortal spiritual being. No difference. Here on Earth, when you die, you're sent through an amnesia machine with a hypnosis, put back into a body, sent into Earth with no recall of your past life, no recall of who you are, how powerful you are, where you came from, or how long you've been alive. It is actually the most heinous, horrific prison in our entire universe, and it's actually caused quite a bit of Isbis to change their tone. Errol talks about that quite a bit of spiritual beings in the universe, once they realized what Earth was that horrible car accident after you've been drinking with your friends at the bar, and you know something bad could happen, but then as you're driving home, you see the bodies in the street, you see the horrible accident. That's what Earth was for so many immortal spiritual beings in the universe. It was a reality check that, well, wow, there's actually people playing games that are not games anymore. You will be in prison for the rest of your life unless you can figure out how to get off this planet, and there's very few people that have. So
Don,
out there, go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off, bro. It sounds like it's a literal hell for these people.
Exactly.
Man, this is really crazy. Again, I subscribe to my King James Bible, Don, but this is very. I can see how this could perplex a devout Catholic woman such as Matilda when she's talking to this being. But we'll touch on that in a minute. Continue, Don.
Well, the one thing I like to say with that too, Nino, just to keep in perspective, is for Matilda telling this story, these footnotes, and again, her, these are the actual transcripts from the interview. She thinks and wonders the same thing, like, oh, okay, this is all BS. But she keeps saying, but then I keep looking at that being sitting in front of me. I keep looking at that little 40 foot tall gray being in front of me. And she's like, any doubt, any questions in my mind are immediately erased because the being is right in front of me. And that's what we're lacking here in this story, obviously. So we're just along for the journey. So
and real quick, Don Kizzle, we're not sitting here and preaching to y'all something else, y'all. We're just giving an account of Matilda's account, right? It's not like we're sitting here and telling you this is factual. This is, we're just telling you what Don Q has learned from his study and him reading this book and this account of Matilda. Continue, Don.
Yes. This is Errol's account to Matilda. Like I said, Matilda isn't saying much anymore. Errol's now the teacher. So okay, so again, I'm trying to create the prison planet for you so we can understand how it was created, right? So, and why there's so many different species of animals and Homo sapiens and Neanderthals and everything you can name throughout our history. There's also a story to that we will touch on. So anyways, this old empire, like I said, basically from a bunch of immortal spirits playing games, basically. Like I said, if we have to come to human terms, it's like taking a drug, taking an LSD, going on a trip. You really do leave. You go out of your mind for a little while, but you're going to come back. You're going to be fine. It's going to pass. It's going to cycle out of your system. That's how the immortal spiritual beings were out in the universe when they were playing these games, not knowing that there was other immortal spiritual beings that were setting traps and you know, trying to create something that very few people in the universe even, like Errol says, most do not even conjure a thought of Earth, would not even think of making something like that. Like, that's why right now where we're at in the universe, there's so much intrigue from so many different areas, constellations and everywhere, because the word is getting out about Earth. Most beings that are on planets, animals and anything, they're there by choice. So, you know, whether they want to leave the body and do as they please, no, so nobody has any regard. Earth, us being against our will, there's intrigue. People are, you know, or these immortal spiritual beings wonder, but like I said, you need to understand, Earth is scary to them. They avoid Earth as much as they can. Matter of fact, Errol talks about this is one of the least visited solar systems in the entire universe.
Wow.
because of Earth, because Earth is that booby trap. Earth is a mouse trap waiting to snap on you, because any being, any creature that comes from any immortal spiritual being that comes to Earth, if they mess around, if they have an accident, if their ship crashes, they're never leaving Earth ever again, and they all know it. So
Hey,
it is paralyzing. Go ahead. Yes.
Interesting, but so if they do end up in this here somehow, or like that alien that she's talking to, what do they do? They end up in a body like Ariel? Is that what you're saying?
No. Arrow's a special. Arrow's special because now. Okay, so let me explain this part, because it's an important part, because Errol does explain this, that this does exist in the universe. Every single immortal spiritual being is different in ability, their capabilities, their strengths, their weaknesses. Everything about them is unique but very different. So once you decide to join a collective like the domain, they have classes, they have ranks, basically. So the very top echelon is basically very high powered ISBs that can come and go from bodies as they please. They're never limited. They can do as they please. When they exit a body, you still exist. You're just now an ISB. You have a frequency. And any other ISB that, you know, if we were friends or family, we would be able to immediately pick up your frequency. There's no telepathy. There's no words. There's none of that stuff that we use in our primitive language. This is all energy admitted. So, gosh, I lost my track there. I started thinking about these beans. So,
it's kind of wild. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me get back to ground zero. What I was talking about here. I know I'm going to get off track. Gosh. All right, let me see.
So she's just saying how nobody wants to come to this solar system because of Earth. It's a prison planet. Continue. Yes. So day 16, she's continually learning from this alien being, and it's blowing her mind because she's a devout Catholic. But again, she's trying to just get the alien picks her for some reason. It can speak to this woman the best out of all people. So that's why she's been chosen to take down this information. Continue.
Yes. So like I was saying, so with the domain, there's different classes, different powers, right? Just like our superheroes, just, you know, anything you want to look at with different strengths and weaknesses. That's exactly how it is for ISBs. So Errol explains that she's basically the third tier down, where she can occupy a doll body, which she's in right now, but that's her only body. She takes that body anywhere in the universe that she needs to go, and when she needs to inhabit a body, whether to fly a craft or to, you know, visit the surface of a planet for some reason, she will use her doll body. That is her sole vehicle. It was created for her millions of years ago. It syncs with her communication, her abilities in flying a craft. Everything is tied back to her doll body. So that's what I mean, is this higher echelon of ISBs, they can jump into different forms. They can have forms created for them. Where Errol is at, being an officer in the domain, she has to operate her doll body because of her responsibility. She always has to be ready to occupy. It's kind of like a fireman with his fire suit. You're no good without it. You can't run into a burning building. It always has to be there ready to go. That's how Errol explains where her place is in the Dominion and why she occupies these doll bodies. And she said the lowest tier, or rather the ISBs that have the least power, and she even says it's whether they're regaining their power, regaining their consciousness, they're always used in physical human form, physical animal forms, whatever you want to use, whatever the the particular collective needs to use on a particular planet for their means. The lower echelon of beings occupy those and do the heavy work. And she even says don't think of it exhausting. We get exhausted, we get tired because of our time. And she said that's one of the saddest things is, we have to constantly recycle anywhere from 65 to 72, sun rotations. We're recycling through the amnesia machine, through the hypnosis machine into a new body. That doesn't exist elsewhere in the universe. She also says this, that most physical body forms in biological form that are used on a planet, once the beings are done doing the work, the bodies are just left there. They can't go back to space. They can't travel. None of the characteristics of space are designed for a biological body. There's no smell in space, nothing like that. So all the biological bodies, once they're done doing work, stay on a planet.
So, Don, I would like to continue on, because I think we're kind of getting stuck into the bodies and the ISBs and all that. But this alien's laying the foundation for what reason about the bodies and all this? Is this go ahead.
She's trying to help Matilda understand the prison planet and how we inhabited it, and that's what I mean about these rabbit holes and splinters on it, because there's a lot of subjects here. But she's trying to reiterate how this happened and why we have such a collective of spirit or immortal spiritual beings here on Earth with just such an array of creativity, with different, anger, emotions, just everything. Earth is a very interesting prison planet to the rest of the universe now as they start to discover us. So,
but you're saying you're saying isms or whatever they're called. Isbs, but that's not a human though, right? We're different than the Isbs, right? The Isbs are a whole nother situation, right? But the Isbs,
no, we are Isbs inside of our human body, our soul that we call it. That's us. That's the Isb. That's who we are. These bodies,
that's a hell of a claim right there, Don Q. That's a hell of a claim.
Yeah. So that's what Errol explains to Matilda.
Bro, this is freaking deep, Don. This is deeper than what I thought we would do on this show. But let's continue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So and that's why Errol, explains to Matilda why she's taking the time to kind of share this history and give her a little bit of knowledge. Is Errol understands that Matilda is an Isby, that she's exactly equal as her. She's just lost all of her capabilities, all of her strength, all of her knowledge, all of her millions of years in the universe. She's lost it all. So she begins to, the whole reason she's sharing this knowledge is she feels bad in a sense, like this is her one chance to kind of help humanity, even though, the dominion or the domain, everybody has told them, humans on Earth you cannot help them. You cannot free them. This mechanism that the old empire built around Earth, nobody has ever seen it before. But also, like Ariel says, nobody really wants to invest time to figure out the machine, to figure out how it all works, because that's not part of the plan. Like, it's not part of their agenda to free the Isbys trapped on Earth, because there's also a double-sided sword to this. As they watched Earth becoming a dumping ground for other Isbys, getting rid of their untouchables, there really was bad Isbys brought to Earth that a lot of Isbys in the universe do not want brought back out, do not want sent free. And that's the double-edged sword for us that she says is, a lot of you, most of you here, are here against your will. You did nothing wrong, and the universe feels very bad for you. But this is not a life and death thing where, we feel bad, you die. You're an immortal spiritual being. Nothing happens to you. You're just trapped here on a prison planet. So again, not trying to put any emotions behind it or anything, but that's basically what Errol's telling her is, look, we don't have a real big interest on trying to help you guys get out. This is something that's going to happen from the inside out. Humans on Earth, Isbys on Earth, are going to have to collectively figure out how to get off of your planet. And she says that from the old empire setting up this machine, they also set up their prison guards. They also set up their mechanisms here in biological forms that make sure that humanity never find their footing, never find their history. Errol goes into the full history of Earth. And she tells Matilda, now that I've kind of explained to you that Earth is a prison planet, I'm going to download the 10,000 years that the domain has observed Earth and what we have observed, and I will share that with you as much as I can. She downloads this information, and she shares with Matilda that basically when the domain had come into this universe, and after they had beat the last ships of the old empire were removed from this part of the solar system, they came to Earth and they started. Now, again, this is going to go sci-fi for you, but Errol talks about when they come into a heavy mineral planet like Earth, there'll be rocks, there'll be everything, because that's what Matilda says. The surface of all heavy mineral planets always changes. The poles always shift. It's something everyone expects. They would have their personnel off the planet before that happens. This is all, universal knowledge. For us here on a prison planet, it's always a shock and awe. Natural disasters kill us. It's just because, we are literally living in a trapped box rolling around. So, Errol wants to give, after she gives out talks about the prison planet. Now she wants to give a little bit of history. So she talks about that after they eliminated the old empire forces, they came here on Earth and they drilled out the top of a Himalaya mountain to start building a base. Now, I know for a lot of us, that's just, okay, where's the drill marks, everything. What Errol says is when they remove the top of a mountain because of their technology and how advanced they are, immediately a holographic image of the top of the mountain is put right back into place. So you never would have known the mountains removed.
Wow.
You never would have known the base was there. That way their ships can freely move in, move out with very minimal, if there's any life forms on a particular planet, any ISBs playing games, they can still operate and do their missions. Because that's one thing she says, like she says, is the space is not good and evil. It's just free will. So when you're a collective or part of the domain with an agenda moving forward to, not conquer, but kind of take in more of the universe, you have other ISBs with free will that are going to play games. And most every ISB in the universe knows to not mess with the domain. The domain, for, to keep it simple, basically is the United States out in the universe. They are not to be messed with. If any power tries to come mess with the domain, they will immediately smash them out and take every resource, every planet, every solar system they have. And that's the way the universe works. So she talks again. I keep jumping around because, like I said, there's so many rabbit holes I want to go down with this story, but I don't because of the sake of time. So 10,000 years they've been observing Earth. Well, they knew that Earth had this amnesia hypnosis machine around it, that once you entered Earth's atmosphere, you were basically in the trap, that any wrong move, if you were kicked out, if you inhabited a body and you were kicked out against your will, you could be caught by this machine, because that's basically how it is. So they also start to realize that the old empire put into place the prison guards, like I said, and the prison guards were doing stuff on the face of the Earth that Errol knew as she was observing over the thousands of years what their intention was. Their intention was to indoctrinate the ISBs on Earth so heavily with the skewed history that they would never be able to put together, never be able to connect the dots, never be able to know any part of their history. If they could break up their history even here on Earth, no ISB would ever remember their history millions of years, millions of life years ago. Because one thing you have to understand that Errol explains is, being that we are the same and we are just as powerful as everyone that holds us captive here, the biggest worry of all the ISBs who created Earth as a prison planet is that we get out and we come looking for who did this to us. That is their greatest fear. That's why Errol says they put in motion so many traps on Earth, so many sophisticated things that like she says, that we can't, our technology is so much more advanced than it, but it's real time, these are real time, traps. These are real things that can even get us, and we don't even understand them. That's how deep this old empire went in building this Earth prison planet, that they knew the inhabitants of Earth. They knew one that, and like Errol said, whether it was they were bringing so many untouchables or whatever it is, they knew that the immortal spiritual beings on Earth could never be set free, because if they did, there would be hell to pay, so to speak. So that's why our history is so skewed. Errol says that's why one of the first things that the prison guards did was, they implemented all the design and architect in Egypt. So the Great Pyramids, all of these things were built with weaponry and tools from out off of this world. That's why the way the architectural designs, the stones moved, everything that we see, we can't explain. Of course, like Earl says, your historians try to explain it, but what they forget is they keep skipping over time. There's no, the way that the sophistication and the way that those pyramids were built, especially with the way that they line with the old empire's home of the Orion constellation, could not be done in the time period that historians say it was done in much faster because of the rotation of Earth. So Errol says the whole purpose, or rather, as she's observing this, she starts to see exactly what they're doing, because this old empire had mimicked this on other planets that the Dominion had run into in others. The old empire was an entity that the Dominion forces. It's not like they went out to go look for a fight, but they knew once they encountered them, they needed to remove them. So this, like, it's, you still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay, good. No, it was silent for a long time. I want to make sure. So, gosh, I lost my footing there again. And I apologize, everyone. There's there's so many bullet points.
Yeah, you're talking about the hologram, how they build, different places. Go ahead.
Yep. So the domain had built a big base here when they first came in. Or excuse me, like I said, I know where it was at. I'm sorry. And like I said, why I jump around is there is tons of rabbit holes to go down on each one of these subjects. A lot of things that I'm jumping over, and I really feel bad about because they are absolute home runs. But anyways, so the domain starts to observe these prison guards on Earth that are designing history and doing things intentionally, so that, like I said, so we can never even put them together here on Earth. So even our Earth history, the material items on Earth never connect. They never make any sense. It just doesn't add up. That's all part of this prison planet mindset and why we're here and what we're going through. So like I said, the domain had come into Earth. They're observing. They had started to build a base on and they took the top off a mountain in the Himalayas. They built a base. They brought 3,000 soldiers here. It was part of the first exploratory forces of the domain. The first group, there's 3,000 soldiers that were brought here, built the base. Well, about a week after the base was built, there was a surprise attack by a fleet of the old empire that the Dominion forces had not known was still in this galaxy. So all 3,000 soldiers were captured, sent to Earth to inhabit bodies, basically sent to prison.
Yeah,
and
wow.
that's what Errol tells Matilda basically started where we're at now, where the domain does have a vested interest now to, one, get their 3,000 back, but they're also understanding to get their 3,000 soldiers back, they're going to have to help us break this machine, break out of this prison planet. So what they've done, and she says, is they've removed every base, every electronic, anything that they can find that they think is holding this amnesia system in place. And they have weakened it significantly. That's one thing Errol says in our history, if you look back, is any spike in technology. We went 2,000 years with small growth, and then we did 100 years of growth in technology that we couldn't even do in the 2,000 years. She said all of those markers were markers of us removing the amnesia machines and the things holding you down.
That makes sense. Good point. Go ahead.
Yes. So they build this base. They have these 3,000 soldiers, and just so you know, Errol said in 1947, the 3,000 are still here on Earth. She said that they observed them, they watched them, but they cannot interact with them. Obviously, they do not know who they are, where they're from, nothing like that. But she said that she is noticing the 3,000 are awakening faster, because what she said in their simple observance of Earth is there is Isbys that have been here since the beginning of this planet. There's some that have been here for a very short period of time, somewhere from around 100 or 200 years ago, that have come from another constellation or somewhere and cast out here. That's why you don't have the same memories. You don't have the same, feeling towards Earth. You don't have the same recalls. And then there's, at the same time, there's somebody next to you that can listen to a piano song from the 1930s or 20s and the hair stands up on the back of their neck, or child prodigies that are born 2 years old and can play Mozart. These are all markers of the amnesia machines breaking down and ISBs remembering their past. Again, this is all real things that have happened in our history, but that's what Errol says are markers that this amnesia machine has been coming down. Okay. Any questions or anything else?
No, continue. Go ahead. We're finna hit the top of the hour, Don. I think we're gonna have to do a part 3. What do you think?
Gosh, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. It's
unless you can finish up in less than 10, 15 minutes, but I don't know if you really can, brother. There's a lot of rabbit holes going through, and we could probably even do one on a Thursday or maybe even tomorrow to finish up, because I do want to get to the questions here that people have right here in the bullpen, for lack of better words.
Yes. Go ahead. So I'll try to race through a little bit more. So Errol's giving a little bit of history. And again, like Errol says, why our history is so skewed, mismatched, moved around, was intentional. That was part of the prison planet mindset, to make sure that, if we can't even put our history together on Earth, we're sure as heck not going to put our history together on millions of lives that we've lived in the past. So I'm trying to, and I just want to make sure I'm hitting everything on the history part, because there's a lot of stuff in the history part, obviously, different events, different markers. One thing that Errol says, as this amnesia machine has started to come down, and again, this part of the solar system is the Dominion's territory, but they are not gatekeepers. They are not guards. They don't run off immortal spiritual beings that decide to come in this area. It's just, you can't challenge the domain. Once you challenge their agenda, what they're doing, they will, take action against you. But otherwise, you're free to do as you please. So Errol talks about that in their observation of Earth, there's actually been some very powerful ISBs that have visited Earth and tried to make changes, tried to do certain things to help us along. Very few have had any luck. And a matter of fact, most of them, she says, even as powerful as they are and great as they are, and again, this is the ripples that go out into the universe and warn everyone else, they've come to Earth and something has happened where they've been trapped here. And again, she says
they get stuck here on Doc Q.
yeah. Well, and one story she talks about was there was this powerful being that came and he had an idea, and it wasn't an idea to help humanity on Earth. It was an idea he had for a creation on the planet he was making, but he wanted to interact with humans. And again, like if you could picture glowing signs in the sky, in the universe, Earth, turn left, do not keep going, like it's that type of stuff, so everybody knows to stay away. Well, he inhabited a body of an archbishop, I believe it was in Spain, somewhere in the 1400s, way back in the day, this powerful being, and Errol even talks about, I know this is again going to be hard for people to understand, but ISBs that are more powerful, or rather that are powerful, if they want to inhabit a body, they just kick the ISB out that's driving it. I know that sounds weird, but they just kick them out and they can occupy the vehicle now. And that's exactly what happened with this archbishop.
Okay, go ahead. That makes sense.
So when this powerful ISB came to Earth, he took over the body of the archbishop. Well, unbeknownst to him, there was a little religious war in town. And that night, that archbishop was assassinated. Well, when he was assassinated, that powerful ISB was kicked out of the body, and he was captured by the amnesia machine, and he's been trapped here on Earth ever since. He's been reincarnated twice. He's been a powerful man once, and his second life, he did nothing. And Errol in the domain. So again, this is just something neat that the domain has observed. Powerful ISBs come into Earth existence, get trapped. They do things. It's almost like they're, and the reason that Errol is so intrigued and why they observe is they're trying to see if these powerful beings figure out a way off of Earth, if they figure out a way past this prison planet. And of course, like she says, nobody really has. There's been a few, but it really, unpractical means, and they were extremely powerful ISBs that, they didn't even know were here on Earth. Because again, it's not, you can send out a signal as an ISB, but it's not like you're on a radar detection where the domain knows everybody that's, here on Earth. It's not that way at all. It's we are all all equal in the universe, so to speak, until you're part of this collective and still part of this domain. So,
hey Don, hey,
yes.
I would say, brother, let's do a part 3. Can you find a
Okay.
stopping point, and we'll get to some questions, and then we're gonna do a round 3.
Yeah.
People say they don't want to be left out; they want to hear all of this. Of course, this is pretty perplexing, y'all. Again, people don't have to believe this if they don't want to. This is just an account from Matilda. Supposedly, we're gonna get to how Don Q believes this. This is a true account of her, because you said it's kind of a sad what happens, how they find out. Right, this is basically her story. This is really her telling it, and you got I guess I would say a plot twist basically on that part. So if you can, Don Q, just round it off to where they continue talking and get an ending point, and then we'll go to the questions. Continue.
Perfect. Okay. So obviously, as I'm telling you everything, Matilda's being told this story. So she's in a bit of shock. She's just sitting there, almost mouth open, eyes wide. And Errol looks at her and quickly realizes Matilda is having a problem processing what she's saying. So Errol looks at Matilda and sends a message to her right away: be above your body. As soon as Errol sends that telepathic image to Matilda, Matilda says she is hovering in the room. She can see the top of her head, and she can see Errol sitting in the chair, but she is above her body. And she can still hear Errol. Errol's still sending her imagery, having a conversation with her. And Errol is explaining to her, again, it's just a vessel. This was created. This is a biological vessel. The vessel I use is called a doll body. A doll body can last millions of years, simple repairs. If I do something with it, easy fix. Your biological bodies are designed to break down. They're designed to only cycle. They're really designed to cycle 150 years. But because of your environment and everything you humans have done, you've cut that down to 65 to 75 average. So your body will decompose.
Makes sense.
So again, Matilda's above her body floating. And before she knows it, Errol drops her back in the body, and Matilda is just blown away. And Matilda even says, after Errol brings her back into her body, because she understood what Errol was trying to do, Matilda stands up. She says, "Excuse me," walks out of the interrogation room, straight to the bathroom, and basically just splashing water on herself. And Matilda even says she stared back. She gazed at herself. She soul gazed at herself for probably 10 minutes. She said in the mirror, just and shock and awe at what she had just experienced, along with the story she had just heard. So she says she fixes her uniform, she gets her composure, she comes back into the room, and that's where we'll take the hard pause.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Twilight Tuesday part 2. This is deep. Don Q, I ain't gonna lie, this is very hard to fathom, take in. Of course, I'm a religious person. I'm a Christian, and my faith is still in Christ. I don't care if I even saw a demon, because I think the Bible, but I believe that demons are that angels. That aliens are demonic, and I wouldn't even trust one if I seen one. I don't care what they would tell me, but this is just an interesting tale, y'all, from Matilda.
Yes.
I forgot her last name, but anyways, Don Q, let's get to the questions real quick. The questions here are I got a couple saved right here, and we'll get to it, y'all. We're going to finish part. We can probably even do a part 3 this week, y'all. We don't want to keep everybody just waiting. Lord Bigotry. Lord Bigotry. Is that, I think that's Drink Cuss Cook from Instagram, says, the silent autopsy video from Roswell, is that Errol or nah?
So Errol talks about that. Errol did leave her body at the base, and she even told, Matilda, tell the scientists they can dissect and cut up the bodies all they want. This is really simple organic material. Some of it you can't find here on Earth, but for the most part, it's organic material. So there's nothing really for them to find or discover. There's nothing for them to reverse engineer, because that was one thing that Errol had to make sure, there was, because even the spaceship that was left behind that was damaged so bad, there was minimal that they could reverse engineer, surprisingly. And Errol even tells Matilda that she understands what's happening here on Earth. She understands that there's also a mechanism in place where Earth cannot have too many geniuses together at once. And I know I just simplified that without the correct vocabulary, but the old empire set it up so collectively we wouldn't have great minds together at one time, because great minds together at one time could figure out the puzzle on getting us off this rock. So that was part of the mechanism.
All right, Juju, does the alien mention God?
Yes, but not a God. she reiterates that you are the God, that you are the creator, that
Wow.
that you are everything good, that you were made in their likeness. And that's the hard part, that I talk about. And that's a really good, I thank Juju for that question, because it's one part I think I'll skip over, but that's what she talks about is, this planet was created by an Isby. It could have been one, it could have been two. She talks about, there's quite a bit of male, female companions that create universes like this. It's almost, she says, almost like creating a home or a backyard the way you want it laid out. It's free for everyone to use. I mean, you can't control immortal spiritual beings, but it's your creation. It's come into existence because of your thought, your desires. And Earth was created that way in its beginnings. Now, the old empire took it and used it as their means that they wanted, but in its creation, it was created that way. So in a neat way, if you want to give this any homage, it's, it still comes back to that God theory in sense. It's just Errol is trying to explain to us, there's not a God. You are a God. You possess everything that being was. You are equal. You are good. You are, you are everything. And that's the hard part with it. But that's basically what Errol says. And, just to go back, because I know that'll be a question too, especially for you, Nino, is that's what Errol said with the Holy Bible after she read it, that the message in the Holy Bible is like an instruction book that's incomplete. You can start to put together a really, good idea of how things work, but without the key steps, you're going to miss an intricate part about it. And she says the biggest step of the whole thing with the Bible is that you are the God, not there is a God. And I know that's hard for all of us to hear, but that's the message from Errol.
Next question is, Shugal says, was Matilda a Christian woman?
She was Catholic. Okay. Yep. But she even says in her footnotes, she is a believer in Jesus Christ and his word. So, I tend to think she might lean a little more Christian because of the influence at the time and everything, but she does say in the book that she is Catholic.
Ed says, what about the Dolce base?
Say that again?
The Dolce base. The Dolce base. I think something about that in New Mexico. Anything about that? The Dolce base? The base?
Nope.
The Dolce or Dulce, whatever it's called?
Nope. Nothing on that. Nothing. Nope.
Okay.
Don't got anything on that.
Tyler asks, why did the alien contact her specifically?
That will be saved for chapter 3.
Okay.
Yep. But there is a reason, or rather, how these events took place wasn't by accident.
Okay.
So yeah, it's interesting at the end, but that's a twist for the end.
Tyler, are there aliens in the 17 movement?
Of course.
Okay. All right. Nikki says, what's the name of the book? Ask Nikki.
Alien Interview.
That's it.
Alien Interview by Lawrence Spencer.
Okay. Queen Sheba says, if we are trash, why are they always coming here?
So if she means visiting by other Isbys, yeah. So Errol talks about that. She kind of talks about it, just like a 16-year-old kid driving a car. Like, he's going to push it to 100 miles per hour. He's going to do that's what these Isbys are doing. They're flying by Earth like a joke, trying to. This is a booby trap. So kind of like young kids, you kind of poke at the mousetrap to see if it's going to snap. That's what a lot of beings have done, because the word has gone out what Earth is. A lot of people, this, like I said, this part of the solar system was unknown. It was the outskirts. It was like, jumping in your car and driving in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico. It's like, why would you do that? There's nothing there. There's no purpose. Why would you waste all that gas and fuel and time? That's the way our solar system's looked at in the universe. But as words got out about Earth, because this is another thing Errol talks about, that all of these biological bodies, humans, plants, animals, bugs, insects, everything was created in laboratories. Everybody, there was millions of companies. There was companies that they're specifically made flowers and bugs. There was companies that specifically made animals. There's companies that specifically made Homo sapiens. Like, just an array of companies that made these different biological bodies for different purposes throughout the universe. So if somebody put in a special order, they wanted a 7-foot, Homo sapien, with a 14-foot, 14-inch foot, and all these different things. Perfect. A company would make it, but they wouldn't make it in bulk. They would just make 1 or 2 of them and That's why on Earth too we have a lot of outcasts or a lot of deformities in our biological makeup, because there's a lot of just stuff that people made. Like Errol talks about in the history, the duck-billed platypus. She's like, that was a special order from some crazy Isby that wanted a mammal that lays an egg, because that's what she talks about too in these factories. Was when they first started making biological bodies to inhabit Earth, there was no need for food or reproduction, none at all. The bodies ran on energy from the class 7 stars that emitted photons. That's all. Wow. the bodies needed. They didn't need. So as these companies started making their business plans and they started getting big clientele, these big clientele in certain areas didn't want to have to keep coming back and buying biological bodies, because one, if they put them to work or did something, the body would break down. You would die. Something would happen. You get crushed. It's not that you lost the person in your team. You just lost that vehicle. So these companies started realizing, okay, we need to come up with something to where our customers are a little more happy with our service. We understand we got them with 150 years. They got to come back and get a new body from us, a new car from us. So we got them there. We need to give them a little bit more. So they started working on reproduction. And then from reproduction came, can we limit the population? Because now, animals, all these living beings that we're creating, they can reproduce. So now we can overpopulate the planet. Well, now we need to, create animals that eat other animals, and all of that. That's how all of this kind of spun. But Errol talks about it spinning from
that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. Exactly. Yeah, hell of a story, y'all. I don't think I agree with this story, but it's good stuff though, Doc. I believe my Bible, but it's all good.
That's right.
Last question, which of course I don't think you're gonna answer this one yet, but it says, how do you know they are real? What's the proof besides some lady in the 40s saying this?
To each is their own. To each is their own with that. That's, I think we talk about this all the time. This is, go outside at night, go stare up at the sky at all the little white specks and know that we're one of them. And then tell yourself that we're all alone in this universe, because it's hard to swallow. It really is for a thinking man that again, I don't have any proof. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but if we're just one of those specks and we pretend like this whole galaxy, this whole universe is all ours and we're the greatest creation, I think we're giving ourselves a little too much.
Okay. Don Kizzle, a hell of a tale, bro. This was wilder than the last one. I'm going to be honest, bro. What did I get myself into? Honestly, it's all good.
Chapter 3 is going to really, really be home. Because like I said, guys, and I apologize, there was so many rabbit holes I wanted to go down. And again, just to create the picture for you, just so you can go on the trip with me. So I know I get long-winded. I know I get caught in these, this long-winded, kind of conversation. So I apologize, but there is a kind of conclusion. There is an ending to the story and everything. So don't think I just keep going forever.
Yeah, it's all good, brother. Real quick, let me get to the exit here, y'all. It's Don Q on the phone, everybody. Roswell Truth Part 2, and we have a Part 3 coming. Let me see if I can get my little hold on. Oh, I'm messing up here. It takes out my face over here. I gotta get my little exit over here, Don Kizzle. Yeah, everybody watching this, Don Q on the phone. Again, you ain't gotta believe this. There's things that in this thing that I don't believe. I believe my Bible. I'm keeping it, like Ty said, I'm a simple man. But it's just something different, y'all. It's entertainment. We're pushing some different content. Real quick, Don Q. I guess we could finish up maybe tomorrow, or is tomorrow Thursday?
Yes, it is. Okay, yep. And I'm free tomorrow too.
Okay,
brother.
You're free tomorrow. We'll try to wrap it up tomorrow, y'all, and finish this segment of the Roswell Truth. One thing about this, y'all, I've never heard something like this in my life. Even the craziest theories with aliens. Thank you, Andre. People like the show. Thank y'all. I've never heard about something like this in my lifetime. So it's interesting to hear it. Again, I'm a Bible believer, and it's simple as that. But hey, you know what? We're all grown adults, and we can hear something else that's a different perspective. Don't mean that we're pushing it or we believe it wholeheartedly, but this is an account. Basically, Don Q, right? This is an account of Matilda. It's not like Don Q's telling us this is gospel. No. This is an account of Matilda, a nurse that was at the Roswell crash and talked to this alien supposedly for, we said 30 days, correct?
Yes. And just so everybody keeps it true north, so you tune in for the chapter 3. There is receipts for everything I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
How Matilda got this transcripts, how it left the Navy base, how it was held by her whole life journey. It's all there. If you ever get your hands on this book, like I said, it's Lawrence Spencer's Alien Interview. the first part of the book is a note from Miss Matilda that basically, hey, explains who she is, how she reached out to this author. And then she also puts a note at the end of the book, which maybe for chapter 3, I'll read for you guys, because it's really amazing. So what happened was she had put together all this documentary, all this stuff she had, and sent it to this author because she knew he was the real deal. She knew that he was really trying to do investigative, truthful work. He wasn't just trying to, create a Hollywood script and just that he really genuinely, cared. So that's why she finally on her deathbed said, okay, I'm going to give him the transcripts. I'm going to tell him the truth, and what he decides to do with it. And she even says in the note to him, I suggest you write this book as nonfiction, because if you write it, as if this is truth, you're going to get some heavy weight put down on you. So that type of thing.
Hey, and real quick, y'all, you know what I like though? Like, we're pushing this different kind of content, y'all. We're trying to figure it out at this point, y'all. We don't know it all, right? And Don Q, I'm so glad that Don Q joined me on this journey with Ty, Juju, and Christy, right? We're trying to push content, y'all. We're trying to get above this algorithm. We push politics and religion all day, y'all. We're trying to basically push different content, thought-provoking content that's interesting, y'all. And that's why we're pushing this Twilight Tuesday. Next week, Don, can you give them a quick tease as to what next Twilight Tuesday, brand new show? What is that? What will that be about, Don Q? Let them know a tidbit about that, please.
Okay, well, we're gonna take a little ride. We're gonna leave the universe, and we're gonna come back down to Mother Earth, and we're gonna possibly tackle Bigfoot in the northern Sierra Mountains, just outside of Reno and Northern California. As everybody knows, the Sierra Mountains run up California all the way up, I believe, to Canada. But my uncle, who's born and raised up in that area, he has some amazing stories that I've heard since I was a child. And I actually have a personal experience that happened to me in the forest. But the stories and the journey is just amazing. And then we'll kind of touch base on a little bit of audio from it. It's just going to be it'll be a great journey and a great story. And we're going to tackle the subject of Bigfoot. So it should be exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait, y'all. That'll be next Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll finish up this one, y'all, and then we'll have the 3-part series of the Roswell Truth. And who knows, y'all, this might go a little bit viral on YouTube, y'all. Who knows where this will take us or take the channel, y'all. But that's the point, though. Like I said, we're trying to push content that that's intriguing, thought provoking, and one of a kind. So, anyways, thank y'all for joining us, everybody. We're gonna be on Instagram. We're pushing the politics and religion heavy over there, y'all. That's all we do. Please continue following us if y'all do so. Thanks to Juju, Christy, Ty, Don Kizzle. Thank you, brother, for joining us, bro. Final word for the Patriots and everybody watching right now. Don, go ahead.
As always, I appreciate everybody joining us. I love telling these stories. I know I got a little long-winded and dive down some rabbit holes, but I appreciate you being here with us. And like Nino said, this is just to give us a break from the daily grind, from the daily weight. I mean, we know it's helmets on and guns strapped when we're out there in the world and we're fighting the narrative. But this is just a little mental break. So I appreciate you all being here. I love you very much as always, and I hope you have a great evening out there.
Hey, thank you, Don Kizzle. God bless you, brother.
God bless you too, Nino. Thank
Don
you.
Q, y'all. All right. Hey, there it is, y'all. Don Q, right? I love Don Q. He's a great friend of mine, a great brother in Christ, brother in the Lord. He's a hard worker, and he's a patriot, y'all. So I salute Don Q, and I put him on the show, and we're going to talk about these kind of things, y'all. It's interesting. And again, y'all, I'm a King James Bible believer. You ain't changing my mind on anything, but we're pushing content, y'all, that's a little bit different and creative, and we're just trying to push what we can where we can. So anyways, y'all, thank y'all for joining us. Please follow me on Instagram, Nino America #2. I've jumped to my second backup page, y'all, due to censorship and shadow banning of my main account. October 25th, y'all, they are going to ban or basically take away the share feature and function on Instagram, y'all. It's pretty wild, but that's what's happening to us. We're being harassed and I think targeted, but that's how it is. Anyways, y'all, thank y'all for joining us on this live. If you watch it on the repeat, I hope you enjoyed it, y'all. Again, thought-provoking content here. We hope you liked it, and I hope you're entertained by it. At the end of the day, y'all, I'm just trying to push entertainment and thought-provoking entertainment, y'all, because I love to. This is what's happening, to be honest. I run a trucking company. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. They got me in Facebook jail. But to be honest, y'all, I get kind of bored, okay, with the content that I'm coming across, y'all. So I want to make my own content, and I want to talk about the things that interest me, and maybe someone else will find my content somewhat entertaining as well, because there's a bunch of content out in the world, y'all, on the World Wide Web. There's so much stuff that you can sink your time into, podcasts, and this is my podcast. This is my show, right? Our show, basically. And I hope you enjoyed it. Nino Radio, trying to give our perspective, give us some time, y'all. We're gonna get our footing down, and before you know it, we'll be going live every day. I would have been live yesterday. I was planning on going live today. I'm gonna be going live tomorrow. So we're planning on going live every day on Nino Radio, if they like it or not, y'all. So I hope you join us on this journey. Thank y'all for watching. I got to go. I'm going to go eat dinner, and I got to go to work tomorrow. Shout out my working men and women in America. God bless you in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. I got to go, y'all, but remember this. You're an American. You're a patriot. You got grit. Act like it.